Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is more than just another game, it's a revolution in anime gaming. With the game just being out for 5 days, it's already become the fighting game with the highest concurrent players of all time. So why did IGN only give it a 7 out of 10 in its game review? Today we'll be discussing IGN's review and presenting our counter arguments for all of their criticism that they had towards Sparking Zero. At the end we'll be giving a rating out of 10 of what we really think the game deserves to be rated. The first criticism the IGN reviewer had was the repetitive gameplay. The IGN critique mentioned that Sparking Zero had a heavy influence of gameplay mechanics such as reactionary based gameplay. Now, this is when most of your gameplay is based on your reactions. And while this is true that Sparking Zero has a heavy influence of reactionary based gameplay, my counter argument to this point is we have to look into the game category Sparking Zero resides in, and that's the fighting game category. And in fighting games, there's a heavy involvement of reactionary based gameplay. Other game titles like Tekken, Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter all have a heavy influence of reactionary based fighting. You have to understand how your opponent plays, react to their movements, as well as counter and block their attacks. The IGN reviewer's critique with Sparking Zero's reactionary gameplay might be more of a preference issue rather than an actual issue with the gameplay. If you don't like the reactionary element of Sparking Zero, it's understandable, but I have a feeling you might just not like the fighting game genre in general, and it might not be for you. Besides that, Sparking Zero also has several different gameplay mechanics such as the battle stocks that you can use to buff your character or even bring in unique elements into the characters like stunning your character or going full power. There's also the sparking mode that makes you immensely strong for a short duration of time so you can unleash unlimited combos and attacks during a short duration. The charging key element adds a completely different aspect of the game into this as well. Moving on, there's the issues with the balancing. Now, the game critique has mentioned that he does not like how the game is unbalanced for the most part. While he has mentioned that he does like the certain aspects of it being unbalanced and so it's simple and easy like the good old days, he's also mentioned that it being unbalanced makes it hard to be a game for competition. And now, while I believe that yes, the game is unbalanced, Kid Goku from Dragon Ball is not holding up with like Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, the game is balanced to the point where it's still competitive. These characters can still face each other and you can still have a chance of winning. It's not like your chances are zero because most of the gameplay is based on your skill and how you actually play. In ranked, you can be successful with characters that are not just busted. You can be successful with characters that are deemed bad or weak, but you have to have the skill to actually outwit and beat your opponent. While yes, characters like Super Vegito, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, they give you a higher rate of success, characters are not everything. It's your skill that matters, and the game devs made sure that the game would be balanced to the point where yeah, your skill has an immense influence on how your performance is in the game. Moving on, there's the issues with tutorials/teaching game mechanics. The reviewer placed a huge emphasis on how the game was not transparent with its game mechanics as well as teaching how to play the game. While I can understand that yes, it's important, I don't think this critique that IGN gave is valid enough to reduce the score given to Sparking Zero out of 10. While yes, Sparking Zero does have a more limited tutorial, the game still manages to go over every game mechanic that you can learn through the super training mode. In general, that goes beyond the minimum that most games do for their training mode. And yes, Sparking Zero does not require the in-depth mechanics like other fighting games do, as it's more generic and more new user friendly. The game still has its mechanics, and in my opinion, the tutorial does enough to teach you and help you understand how to use these mechanics. Moving on, there's the issues with character story being limited or even grueling to complete. Now this one confused me quite a bit because I thought most games, we want challenge from our games. We don't want it to be easy. We don't want it to be given to us on a silver platter. We actually want to earn that golden trophy you get after clearing every what if and story. If the Grade A Vegeta battle was easy, if every single battle in the game as well as the Jiren arc, Goku Black arc, everything was easy, then there'd be more outrage. People would be more upset with the game because they didn't put the effort to make the CPUs a challenge. So no, I don't really understand the issues it had with the difficulty or the gruelingness of the story mode, but yes, I do understand the story mode being limited. Sparking Zero story mode is mostly picture to picture, and while kinda does the bare minimum to tell you the story, the game is priced at $70 at entry, so there is an expectation of there being a comprehensive story mode. The budget was clearly not invested enough in the storytelling aspect, so yes, the story being limited is understandable. Moving on, there's the final critique they had with the game, and that's the limited potential of custom battle. Now this segment of the IGN review only mentioned the limited potential of custom battle because the game reviewer did not really mention the pros and only really mentioned the cons of this game mode. How the game mode is quite limited and there's only so much you can say or do with the characters. And while I understand this criticism, this element of the game was never meant to be in the game to begin with. We all kinda expected that. This is just an element of the game that the game devs decided to add. This was never a part of the previous iterations of the Budokai Tenkaichi. So all in all, I believe that custom battle is a great game mode. It has a lot of replayability and you can do a lot with it. You can set up very difficult fights. I've seen Syriax challenging Broly, which was a really tough fight. If you haven't checked that out, you should check it out. It really represents the potential of custom battle and what more can be done with it in the future. However, I also understand that it is a little limited, so you're probably wondering, what is my final score for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero? Well, I think the game at the very minimum, deserves at least an 8 out of 10. I could see a more realistic score for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero being an 8.5 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. If I was to give you a completely unbiased score, it would probably have to be 8.5 out of 10. The game gives you everything you want in a Dragon Ball experience through the in-game mechanics, making it through the story mode and even the what ifs that extend our realm of understanding of how Dragon Ball could have gone. Through the hours and hours of playability through the story mode with the what if sagas, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero has a lot of benefits and playability for its price tag. While it is a little pricey and certain elements of the game could be improved, such as its story modes limits, as well as certain elements of the menu and other options. All of these criticisms for the game are quite nitpicky and minimalistic at best. So all in all, let me know what you thought about my rating down in the comments below. If you thought any different, thought it was better or worse, let me know. How did you feel about IGN's review? Hit the like button if you liked the video and subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.